From the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know at the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution, I'm Joel Norwood with today's Ag News. And tell you what, broadcasting from the Farm Science Review, come on out and see us. We're at the Big Red Barn at the corner of Market Street and Corn Avenue. We'll also be here broadcasting tomorrow, thanks to Morton Buildings. Stop out and see Morton Buildings at 516 Land Avenue on the FSR grounds. And stay tuned to OCJ.com for much more coming from this year's review. And one of the great parts about Review is not only seeing the latest in equipment and technology, but talking the latest topics with those who know their stuff. And that's where we cut to Anna Hall Stroud of Paul Hall Insurance talking about field fires this year and what you need to know from a insurance perspective.
I think the first step is to being conscious and aware of it. Sometimes we get in our heads and we don't think this year is any different just because it's a little drier, but it's a lot different. The dust is much thicker. It lays in places much longer. So we have to be more cognizant of how to take care of our equipment, how to go slow and steady in the field, and be much more aware of our surroundings. So if something does erupt in some form of fire and smoke, we see it through the dust instead of being too far gone to save it.
Hits close to home. Just last week, some of my extended family, they were getting some soybeans started, and a fire broke out there in the field. Thankfully, nobody hurt, no equipment really damaged, and firefighters were able to get that under control, not before those several acres went up in flames.
A lot of times it'll depend on how the fire started and what is covered, who is covering it, who's going to be liable, who's not liable. More times than not, the actual landowner is not going to be the person at fault unless they're also the one that's actually harvesting the field. So let's use a combine fire for an example. It's probably the one we most well understand. And if a combine, kind of whether it's a bearing that goes out or dust has created an issue, whatever the case is, we now have a fire, the combine burns up. The goal is to get out of it safely and let the combine burn, first and foremost. Let the combine burn. Secondly, the second goal was to try and keep anything around the combine from burning. So we're telling a lot of our guys, take water to the fields with you. Do what you can to try and protect it after the fire has started. But if the field burns up because you weren't able to get it out or you didn't learn about the fire soon enough, now you're just saving yourself, let it burn, and then we'll deal with the repercussions at that point. Hopefully you have grain coverage on your farm policy. That's going to be the first question you should talk to your insurance agent about because then any unharvested crop or crop in the combine is going to be covered with that coverage. Now let's say it burns over the ditch line to the neighboring field and now you've basically had some fire damage to the neighbor crops. You're still going to make sure, most farm policies have that liability built in, so if they say that you're liable for it, which if it was your combine that started the fire, you probably are, you're going to have some coverage to take care of them as well.
She says reach out to your insurance agent now. Have those discussions. Ask if you are covered on those various areas. It's a unique area and one we're not used to talking about as much as we are this year in Ohio. That's field fires, and joining us, Anna Hall Stroud of Paul Hall Insurance. More information from their team online at paulhallinsurance.com. Also some tips on staying safe out in the field at ohioagnet.com. Latest numbers out from USDA as far as crop progress, not only across the state, but across the country. Let's take a look at some of those as combines are rolling out in farm fields. Stay safe out there as 6% of corn is harvested. By the way, the normal for the 5-year average right now, 0 at this time of year. 4% of soybeans harvested. Again, 0 is the 5-year average. Is just ahead of that, 45% of corn is mature. 21% is the 5-year average. Soybeans dropping leaves. 59% is where we're at. 26% is where we usually find ourselves. Pasture condition continues to be pretty rough across the state as the drought carries on. 46% very poor, 29% poor, 22% fair, 3% good, none in the excellent range. Find that full report thanks to AgriSpray drones online at ohioagnet.com. And elsewhere, the National Corn Growers Association says they're not very happy with a new announcement from the U.S. Department of Commerce, which is recommending tariffs on imports of the herbicide 2,4-D. Nancy Martinez is Director of Public Policy, Trade, and Biotechnology for NCGA.
This is an issue that we're very concerned about and watching. So Commerce released this preliminary duty rate, and if it would be finalized, these rates could definitely impact the availability and could also impact the cost down the road. It's difficult to predict right now. When Commerce released these preliminary preliminary duty rates. Some of them were in the 3 to 5% range, and there was one that was 27% actually. So we understand that that would cover a substantial amount of the imports coming in. So obviously, the higher the rate, the more the impact. And as we know, for something like 2,4-D herbicide, it's one of the tools that farmers use to control weeds. And so if you don't apply it at the right time, if there's an availability issue, that can really impact farmers' ability to be successful.
Again, Nancy Martinez with NCGA talking about that recommendation for countervailing duties on 2,4-D by the Department of Commerce. And let's take a look at market numbers after Tuesday's close in Chicago. New crop corn's up 1 3/4 at the moment to 412.5, as March corn up 1.5 to 430 3/4. New crop soybeans up 1.5 as well to 10.06 per bushel. Jan beans 10.24 3/4 cents, the price you'll get if you can hold on to them, up 1 1/4. And next July wheat down 1.5 to 612 1/4. Markets thanks to Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. October live cattle $1.58 up to $178.80, as feeder cattle for October $1.75 higher to $240.75. October lean hogs $1.85 good, $81.78 is their price, and then milk class 3 for October up 24 cents to $23.88. This is the Ohio Ag Net.